morning everyone. Basa na ng Bible guys. 2 Samuel chapter 9, 10, and 11. And yung karugtong kahapon ng Luke chapter 15 verse 11 to 32. Dito muna tayo sa 2 Samuel 9, 10, and 11. 9, 10, 11. Pang April 20. Matatapos natin yung Bible. Wala pa talagang 1 year. Kasi ang totoong araw ngayon is April 11 lang. Basa. 2 Samuel chapter 9. David and Mephibosheth. David asked, "Is there anyone still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" Kasi nga friend niya si Jonathan, kaya lagi niyang inaano. Now there was a servant of Saul's household named Ziba. They called him to appear before David, and the king said to him, "Are you Ziba?" "Your servant," he replied. The king asked, "Is there no one still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show God's kindness?" Ziba answered the king, "There is still a son of Jonathan. He is crippled in both feet." "Where is he?" the king asked. Ziba answered, "He is at the house of Machir, son of Ammiel, in Lo-debar." So King David had him brought from Lo-debar, from the house of Machir, son of Ammiel. When Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, came to David, he bowed down to pay him honor. David said, "Mephibosheth, your servant," he replied. "Don't be afraid." David said to him, "For I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table." Mephibosheth bowed down and said, "What is your servant that you should notice dead dog like me?" Apo ka ng hari nung araw syempre. Dapat i-honor ka talaga. Then the king summoned of Ziba, Saul's servant, and said to him, "I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his family. You and your sons and your servants are to farm the land for him and bring in the crops, so that your master's grandson may be provided for. And Mephibosheth, grandson of your master, will always eat at my table." Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then Ziba said to the king, "Your servant will do whatever my lord the king commands his servant to do." So Mephibosheth ate at David's table like one of the king's sons. Mephibosheth had a young son named Micah, and all the members of Ziba's household were servants of Mephibosheth. So may anak pa si Mephibosheth na Micah. Tapos lahat ng household ni all the members of the Ziba household were servants of Mephibosheth. So salitan tayo sa verse 13. And Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem because he always ate the king's table, and he was crippled in both feet. David defeats the Ammonites. In the course of time, the king of the Ammonites died, and his son Hanun succeeded. Oh, succeeded him as king. So, nung araw talaga guys, puro talaga siya mga hari ang namumuno, no? David thought, I will show kindness. Pero ang pinakaunang king, di ba, si Saul sa Israel? Kasi nga, nag-ano sila ng, need nila ng, nag-ano sila kay Samuel ng ng magiging hari nila. So, David said, oh wait, ulitin natin sa chapter 9 verse 1, chapter 10 verse 1. Ulit. In the course of time, the king of the Ammonites died, and his son Hanun succeeded him as king. David thought, I will show kindness to Hanun son of Nahash, just as his father showed kindness to me. So David sent a delegation to express his sympathy to Hanun concerning his father. When David's men came to the land of the Ammonites, the Ammonite nobles said to Hanun their lord, do you think David is honoring your father by sending men to you to express sympathy? Hasn't David sent them to you to explore the city and spy it out and overthrow it? So, yung mga sulsulero talaga. Ano na nga yung maiwasan talaga yung mga nagpo-provoke ba. Nakikipagsimpati na nga si David May mga nag-ano pa na spy daw. Yan minsan ang nakakasira sa relasyon. So Hanun says David's men shaved off half of its men's beard, cut off their garments in the middle of the buttocks, and sent them away. When David was told about this, he sent messengers to meet the men, for they were greatly humiliated. The king said, stay at Jericho till your beards have grown, and then come back. When the Ammonites realized that they had become stains in David's nostrils, they hired 20,000 Aramen, foot soldiers from Beth Rehob and Suba, as well as the king of Mecca, with 1,000 men, and also 12,000 men from Tob. Kita mo guys, konting alitan lang yan. Tapos marami ng madadami na soldiers, 1,000 na. On hearing this, David sent Joab out with the entire army of fighting men. The Ammonites came out and drew up in battle formation at the entrance to the city gate, while the Arameans of Zuba and Rehob and the men of Tob and Mecca were by themselves in the open country. Joab saw that there were battle lines in front of him and behind him, so he selected some of the best troops in Israel and deployed them against the Arameans. He put their laya. Nadoling na ako sa verse 10 ng chapter 10, 2 Samuel. He put the rest of the men under the command of Abishai, his brother, and deployed them against the Ammonites. Joab said, if the Arameans are too strong for me, then you are to come to my rescue. But if the Ammonites are too strong for you, then I will come to rescue you. Be strong and let us fight bravely for our people and the cities of our God. The Lord will do what is good in his sight. Then Joab, sa verse 13, then Joab and the troops with him advanced to fight the Arameans, and they fled before him. When the Ammonites saw the Arameans were fleeing, they fled before Abishai and went inside the city. So Joab returned from fighting the Ammonites and came to Jerusalem. After the Arameans saw that they had been routed by Israel, they regrouped. Hadadezer had armies brought from beyond the river. They went to Helam with Shubak, the commander of Hadadezer's army, leading them. When David was told of this, he gathered all Israel, crossed the Jordan, and went to Helam. The Arameans formed their battle lines to meet David and fought against him. But they fled before Israel, and David killed 700 of their charioteers and 40,000 of their foot soldiers. Sa konting alitan guys, tingnan mo naman yung namamatay 40,000 and yung mga charioteers 700, so 40,700 total na namatay. Sa konting alitan, yung provocation ba na sinabi lang na spy daw yung tapos napahiya yung mga tauhan ni David, yun lang ang umpisa. Napaka ibig sabihin nung araw, napaka-konting diferensya na mapag-usapan naman. Tapos naghigyera na sila. Reaction lang yun. Ang pangit kasi ng puro gyera. Parang yung pride. Sa pride yan masyadong mataas yung mga pride. Kaya ganun. Ayaw magpatalo. He also struck down sa verse, sa verse 18. Okay. He also struck down Shobak, the commander of their army, and he died there. When all the kings who were vassals of Hadadezer saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they made peace with the Israelites and became subject to them. Tingnan mo lang, huli na. Marami nang namatay. Makikipag-peace rin pala kayo So the Arameans were afraid to help. Nag-react tuloy yung tiyan ko. So the Arameans were afraid to help the Ammonites anymore. David and Bathsheba. In the spring at the time when kings go of war, David sent Joab out with the king's men and the whole Israelite army. They destroyed the Ammonites and besieged Rabbah, but David remained in Jerusalem. One evening, David got up from his bed and walked around on the roof of the palace. From the roof, he saw a woman bathing. The woman was very beautiful. So, nakita niya, isang gabi daw, naglalakad si David sa roof is bubong, right? So, rooftop maybe. Of the palace from the roof, he saw a woman bathing. So, may naliligo na babae. The woman was very beautiful. And David sent someone to find about her. Tingnan mo lang, pagkursunada ng lalaki, talagang gumagawa ng paraan. The man said, Isn't this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, and the wife of Uriah the Hittite? So, may asawa yung babae. Parang nabasa ko na to dati. Then David sent messengers to get her. She came to him and he slept with her. Oh, she had purified herself from her uncleanness. Then she went back home. The woman conceived and went and sent word to David saying, I am pregnant. So David sent this word to Joab, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent him to David. When Uriah came to him, David asked him how Joab was. Oh, ang pangalan ng asawa ng lalaki is Uriah. Yes. came to him, David asked him how Joab was, how the soldiers were, and how the war was going. Then David said to Uriah, "Go down to your house and wash your feet." So Uriah left the palace, and gift from the king was sent after him. But Uriah slept at the entrance to the palace with all his master's servants, and did not go down to his house. Oh, hindi ko magets. Anong pinagagawa ni King David sa kanya? Go down to your house and wash your feet. And gift from the king was sent after him. But Uriah slept at the entrance. So, hindi siya umuwi sa bahay nila. When David was told Uriah did not go home, he asked him, "Haven't you just come from a distance? Why didn't you go home?" Uriah said to David, "The ark and Israel and Judah are staying in tents, and my master Joab and my lord's men are come in the open fields. How could I go to my house to eat and drink and lie with my wife? As surely as you live, I will not do such thing." Oh, the ark and Israel and Judah are staying in tents, and my master Joab and my lord's men are camped in the open fields. How could I go to my house to eat and drink and lie with my wife? Oh. Then David said to him, "Stay here one more day, and tomorrow I will send you back." So Uriah remained in Jerusalem that day and the next. At David's invitation, he ate and drank with him, and David made him drunk. But in the evening, Uriah went out to sleep on his mat among his master's servants. He did not go home. Tigas pala ng ulo ni Uriah. Joke lang. In the morning, David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it with Uriah. And in it he wrote, "Put Uriah in front line where the fighting is fiercest. Then withdraw from him, so he will be struck down and die." Hala. Bad si King David, oh. Pinapa-frontliner niya si Uriah sa gera. So while Joab had the city under siege, he put Uriah to a place where he knew the strongest defenders were. When the men of the city came out and fought against Joab, some of the men in David's army fell. Moreover, Uriah the Hittite died. So namatay si Uriah, kawawa naman. Joab sent David a full account of the battle. He instructed the messenger, "When you have finished giving the king this account of the battle, the king's anger may flare up, and he may ask you, 'Why did you get so close to the city to fight? Didn't you know they would shoot arrows from the wall? Who killed Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal? Didn't a woman throw an upper millstone on him from the wall, so that he died in Thebes? Why did you get so close to the wall? If he asked you this, then say to him, also your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead." The messenger set out, and when he arrived, he told David everything Joab had sent him to say. Pinapa-frontliner nila si Uriah, di namatay. Mapupunta sa kanya. Understood na yun, mapupunta sa kanya si Bathsheba. Talaga lang. Then, sa verse 22, the messenger set out, and when he arrived, he told David everything Joab had sent him to say. The messenger said to David, "They men overpowered us and came out against us in the open, but we drove them back to the entrance to the city gate. Then the archers shot arrows at your servants from the wall, and some of the king's men died. Moreover, your servant Uriah the Hittite is dead." So yun, namatay si Uriah. David told the messenger, "Say this to Joab, don't let this upset you. the sword divorced one as well as another, pressed the attack against the city and destroyed it. Said this to encourage Joab. When Uriah's wife heard that her husband was dead, she mourned for him. After the time of mourning was over, David had her brought to his house, and she became his wife and bore him a son. But the thing David had done displeased the Lord. Yeah. Mga ilang wife na niya si Bathsheba. Di ba ang dami na niyang wife? Si Michal, yung ano pa ba? Basta, kung ilang wife na niya si Bathsheba, di ko alam, pang-apat na yata to. Ang lagi ko lang natatandaan si Mitchell, yung anak ni King Saul. Kasi yun ang number 1. Okay, dito na tayo sa Lot. Lot chapter 15 verse 11. Hoy, yung tiyan ko. Huwag kang umano. 11 verse 11 to 32. Wala na kasi space kaya siningit ko na lang. Daming nakasulat sa Bible ko. Ganyan talaga pag nag-aaral. Okay. Jesus tells the parable of the lost son. Jesus continued, there was a man. Ba't ang hilig ni Jesus sa parable? Jesus continued, there was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me my share of the state. So he divided his property between them. Ito yung kahit hindi pa patay ang magulang, nanghihingi na ng share. Nanghihingi na ng mamanahin nila. Sorry, nahulog yung takip. So he divided his property between them. Not long after, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods, and the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. When he came to his senses, he said, How many of my father's hired men have food to spare, and here I am, starving to death. Yeah. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven, and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son, but make me like one of your hired men. So he got up and went to his father. Magpapakatulong na lang siya, magiging servant na lang siya ng kanyang ama. Pero maaating ba yan ng tatay? Siyempre hindi. Kumbaga sa nakakapagbigay ka nga sa ibang tao, tapos sa sarili mong anak hindi. So, yun ang patakaran ko eh. But while he was, siyempre uunahin mo yung anak mo, diba? Bago iba. So he got up and went to his father, but while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him, He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened cow and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. So they began to celebrate. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. Your brother has come, he replied, and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. Yes. Matutuwa ka talaga. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. Unfair nga naman din yun. Dapat pantay. Kahit sabihin mong love mo pa rin yung nawawala mong anak, dapat pantay ang pagbibigay sa mga anak. Kahit magsisilos na yung panganay. My son, the father said, You are always with me and everything I have is yours. Okay. Nagets ko na. But we have to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. Kasi nga naman kung ano yung nakakain ng tatay, nakakain ng nadodong anak na parating araw-araw na kasama. So yun, may aral. May aral tayo natutunan. Bye everyone, God bless.